Listen up. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to the podcast participants, and not to any participant's employer, organization, committee, or other group or individual. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. You know, for fun. So lighten up and enjoy. Hello, Stomping Jen.
Hi, Sawtooth Ray.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Good. You know, you mentioned earlier you had a vest
I do.
that was made by our guest,
I do.
who is Kelly Surprenant, of a fashion artist
Yes.
who started something called the Rainbow Rack, right? And the goal of the Rainbow Rack is to create unique fashions with vintage inspiration for the modern age. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love vintage
Mm-hmm.
because I am becoming vintage every day.
Uh-huh.
And her designs are for the fashion-forward, conscious consumer. And they are couture pieces that are as unique as we all are.
Say that 5 times fast.
I can't. I
Couture.
could barely say it then. But
Couture.
she creates these pieces ethically here in our home of Western Massachusetts.
I know, and they're very cool.
Yeah, you have one.
I do.
This vest.
Yes.
I don't remember seeing the vest. You should. Why aren't you wearing the vest?
Oh, because...
Shame. Shame to you. All right. We're going to talk to Kelly all about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good?
It sounds awesome. Let's
All
get
right.
to it.
Well, let's go. The Soft Serve Podcast. Creamy, delicious ideas without the creepy truck. Stomping Jen.
Yeah.
You should have worn your vest.
Oh my God.
Your vest, your vest, your vest.
I'm not dressed up, so...
It's the best vest. You
Don't-
should have worn it. It was made by our guest. You should have worn the vest made by our guest.
So,
Yes.
I will just say...
Please.
The secret that no one knows, because we don't
Yes.
record... we don't video record this, is I'm already in my pajamas.
Oh. Well, let's say hello to our guest, the maker of the vest, Kelly. Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
I apologize for making you endure that. That is the unique punishment we inflict upon our guests. Is having to listen to me sing. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. Just want to start with how are you doing?
Doing great. Doing really good. Just been sewing a lot.
Yeah. Now, when you say you've been showing a lot,
Sewing.
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 Yeah. So you've been working on creating all of these pieces. And I mentioned the Rainbow Rack. I did my best to try to describe what it is, but I'd love to give you an opportunity to tell us all about the Rainbow Rack. What is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Rainbow Rack is the name of my clothing company that I started, where everything is one of a kind, and I upcycle clothing that I find secondhand and gently used. I go for kind of a westerny, vintagey look, and I have 2 kind of main techniques. One that Jen has, one of my amazing vests. I do a technique with denim where I weave strips of fabric through it and quilt it all back together, and it looks really cool. It creates kind of like a Cubert sort of
Pattern.
geometric pattern, yeah. And so I do those, and then I also make like kind of cowboy inspired shirts where I find Western shirts and add embroidery of whatever I think of, my original art, and put them on cool Western shirts and create like one of a kind pieces in that way.
Is there something in particular you love about like the Western aesthetic?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like I grew up, I was very close with my grandparents. I learned how to do hand stitching techniques from my grandmother, and I spent a lot of time with them, and they were also square dancers.
Oh.
And so my grandpa had all of these really cool, like cowboy shirts, and my grandma wore the twirly circle skirts with big petty skirts underneath. And so I thought that was like the height of, getting dolled up. And it's like party clothes, it's fun.
Yeah, I love that. It's a real commitment to having fun. It's like, okay, we're gonna dress up and we're going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so I'm also like, I've been a quilter and a crafter of many different kinds for many years. And one of the things about being a quilter is that you also become a fabric collector / hoarder. So the jackets kind of started as a way to use up pieces of fabric that I still really found precious, but I only had maybe a little bit of it. So I had like a little strip and I put it in this one. And so I found a way to like keep my fabric stash going. And I really enjoy that too, having connected pieces of fabric that I've used in different things that, they're all out there in the world doing their thing and being functional pieces of art.
I'm going to ask you a really off-the-wall question early. I usually work my way up to these. Have you taken any of your grandparents' clothing that you remember and incorporated them into any of your pieces?
Well, so it's funny that you ask that. Not my pieces like for the rainbow rack, but I did inherit my grandmother's wedding dress, which was beautiful and gorgeous and, about as big around as a beanpole. So it was way too small for me. She was married in 1950. But it had a 5-foot long silk train. So I cut that all up and I made a dress for myself out of her wedding dress.
Oh, cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a wonderful, I don't know if she was there with you in person, but if not, like what a wonderful way to have her there with you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's really cool.
Cool. So what does the rainbow mean to you as a symbol? Why the rainbow rack?
Well, I mean, like I identify as, LGBTQ also. I also love color and just kind of both of those things, but mostly the color, really. Like,
yeah, rainbows are we had an experience like a week and a half ago where there was this storm that rolled through the Pioneer Valley where we lived, and these amazing rainbows were just all over the place. And I remember like we stopped, I was with my kids, I was taking them home. We stopped to take pictures. There were people pulled over everywhere. And there's just something magical about them. And my son was like remarking, imagine if you saw these and you didn't know anything about science. Like you didn't understand the world. Like you would really think they are magical.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I love the symbolism of the rainbow, which is just like inclusive of everything and everyone. And that's kind of like what I want to get across with my clothing brand too, is that it's for everyone. It's not women's clothing. It's like for any gender. I try to be as size inclusive as I can be. It's difficult thrifting and upcycling to stay really size inclusive, but I do make that like one of my goals when I'm choosing pieces, because it's really easy to just go and stock up on size small and medium stuff. That's like thrift stores are full of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
like choosing thoughtfully and making sure that there's like cool stuff for everybody, is part of what is important to me.
Yeah. And I could tell when I was, getting ready for the podcast and looking at your materials, I spent a lot of time on your website. The first thing that struck me was how much I loved your models, because they look like real people. I don't know if these are people Like, I wanted to ask you, like, and they look like they were people like you're describing, of all different body types. They looked like normal people, not aliens. Like like, where did you get your models? And I think before you answer that, I just want to say I think you made a wonderful choice in selecting like actual human beings to wear your clothing. So where'd you get your models?
Yeah, thank you. My models are all of my lovely friends and people that I know. And, sometimes, on a moment's notice, I'll throw it out on Facebook and just kind of see who is like available and wants to come right now for free.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of money, but, I can, usually buy people lunch or something and just like dots over, try to make it as fun as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's real people. It's all my friends.
I love that. And that fun really comes through in your promotional materials. I love it. I want to read a quote from your website, actually. I love this quote. It goes like this. Rainbow Rack is fashion for the future, inspired by the past, and rooted in the present. I love that. Tell us a little bit more about that, because that feels like a tagline or a slogan of some kind.
Well, I mean, yeah. So, like, for the future, what we need to think about is not the current fast fashion model of just like mindlessly creating things that just get thrown away, create a ton of waste, are made with tons of exploitation. It's just like this absolutely destructive model of how people access clothing. And it's not like people are choosing to do it. It's just, we've reached a point where that's the most accessible thing for many people, is getting cheap clothes that aren't good, that fall apart, that are made badly, and the whole thing. And so thinking forward, what we need to do is use things that we already have surrounding us that are in good condition still, that might not be the most exciting thing in someone's wardrobe full of a million things, and so they end up in a thrift. But I find them, they're of good quality, and make them super fun and exciting, and then they become someone's favorite piece of clothing. And so it's like closing that gap of just like, making people kind of think twice about where their clothing comes from, and make a greener, quote unquote, choice.
Yeah.
Obviously inspired by the past is like, I have had a vintage aesthetic and, kind of like loved old things for a long time. Like I said, my connection with stitching comes from my grandmother. So I have like a lot of ties to the past, and that kind of comes through in the way that I design and the sort of things that I choose, and the different fabrics that I like. And then, just like rooted in the present is like, my business is very small and very versatile, really. Like I went to Green River Festival earlier in the summer, and I was like, what can I think of that says like Green River Festival to me? So I like came up with this shirt that has a little frog on it that's like playing the banjo on the moon. And it's like, it was so cute. And it was like the perfect, most like encapsulating thing for just like what I happened to be doing that weekend. And so it's just like, I can make whatever occurs to me in the moment.
I love that. I wish I could create clothes for whatever I'm about to do.
You're so funny.
That is a superpower.
You wish you could create clothes?
Yeah, for whatever I'm about to do.
You're so funny.
That's what I wish. I don't know. I love that.
You're like the least fashion-centric human I've ever met.
What do you mean?
You just you have 5 shirts and 3 pairs of pants.
Yeah, but that's because I'm trying not to be wasteful.
Oh, okay. All right.
I wear things,
all right. Well,
Kelly, I literally wear things till they fall apart.
all right.
So you mentioned, you mentioned upcycling, and we were talking about upcycling in our house earlier today. We were talking about who we were going to be speaking with on the podcast to our children, Ted and Space Unicorn. That's their names. And somebody said, well, what's upcycling? I think you already told us, but could you tell us again what this idea of upcycling is? Because I didn't know. Someone had to tell me.
So upcycling is just taking anything that has already been used for its intended original purpose and reimagining what it can be. And for me, that means taking clothing and making it super awesome, amazing clothing that's one of a kind and becomes someone's favorite thing. But it can be anything. I mean, it's
yeah, you can.
I'm looking right now at a tote bag that was made out of some kind of feed grain thing for animals. It can be anything.
Yeah.
It's just taking that mindset of disposability that we were all I grew up in the 80s where I don't know, you'd get your McDonald's in the styrofoam clamshell thing and it's just
throw it away.
You don't think about the fact that it just sits forever.
Yeah.
And it's sort of okay, if we have these things already in existence, how can we make them go one more time? Make them, because then that's winning. That's doing everything we can to not just be mindlessly consuming and throwing things away.
Right. And it's a different concept than recycling.
Right.
Right. It's
recycling means you tear it all apart, right? And you use that to make another thing.
Right. But upcycling is transforming the thing into something else, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
think recycling, to me anyways, to my understanding, recycling kind of involves a plant and things going there to be melted down and remade in some kind of way, where upcycling, anyone can do it at any time. And even as much as keeping your plastic bags from the grocery store and reusing them again for, putting a sandwich in. That's just keeping that mindset of if you use it one more time.
Now, where do you get your garments for upcycling? I know you mentioned thrift stores. I would imagine that's a great place. Is there any other places you obtain the materials and garments that you use to create your pieces?
Well, I go to all the thrift stores. I also love church stores because there's always really kind people working there, and it's, I don't know, they're very cute to me. I like little church stores. So those ones are fun. And then there's also a donation bin. I live in Wendell, which is a very small little town, and there's a free box of clothes that's there. And I don't really find shirts and stuff there very much, but another thing that I do is I make embroidered patches, and I make those out of reclaimed denim from pants, and I can almost always find a different colored pair of pants in the free box that I can just cut apart, and then I can make lots and lots of patches.
That's cool. Where do you create your pieces? Talk to us about your workspace. What does that look like? Well,
it's a little bit in flux at the moment. But by and large, it's at my house. It's been in the living room. Currently, I'm in a storefront, but I won't be by the time this comes out. The pop-up store in Greenfield. But I'm hoping to, I don't know, I have a room downstairs that I need to organize more, and then that will be my room.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do it all out of my house. I'm also, I'm a member of Launch Space, and that is a super cool, like maker space in Orange in the OIC building, which has just tons of stuff, tons. And they also have a commercial embroidery machine. So sort of the next step for my business is when they get that up and running, I'm going to be able to move my production of my shirts and stuff down to the OIC in Launch Space. And then that'll be really cool.
Does embroidery involve, sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there. Does embroidery involve those big long machines that you like move a thing and it goes, do you know what I mean?
No.
My mother had this thing that she called an embroidery machine. And it was like, maybe it was a knitting machine. I don't know. But I just remember it was this big like machine that she would load all sorts of like yarn into. And she would just sit there and move this thing back and forth. And it would somehow create a garment. What is embroidery? I'm
Are you sure that wasn't like a sewing machine?
It might have been a sewing machine.
Well, there's a chain stitching machine that might be what you're describing. And if it is, that's amazing. I really, really want one. And those are the old school, you do kind of drive them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, those are crazy. But what I have is an embroidery machine. And what it does is it basically just performs decorative stitches on top of, you put fabric in a hoop to keep it taut. Right? It's not like a regular sewing machine where you're just feeding it through with your hand.
Yeah,
you, like put the fabric in a hoop.
So those little wooden hoops.
Yeah.
My mother
those are for hand embroidery.
Yeah, my mother had tons of those things.
Yeah, she would do cross stitching.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, so back to your machine. Tell us more about that.
So my machine that I have right now actually is just a home embroidery machine, just like a crafter's model. So it kind of looks like a sewing machine, but it has like a little embroidery hoop kind of thing that clicks onto it. And, it just moves around like a magic wand. And, I have software on my computer that I also bought so that I can design whatever I want. And just like program, you have to think about programming where the needle is going to go and, not have it jumping and leaping around because it's a real thread. It's not like a printer. So you program the path of that and where you want it to sew and what kind of stitch you want it to use. And then I can just transfer it on a USB into my machine and it stitches it out.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's really amazing. I've been having so much fun with it.
I love that. I imagine that must be helpful in creating like different types of designs, more complex designs. Did you start embroidery like by hand? Is that how you started doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, so I learned doing cross stitch and embroidery with my grandma when I was little. And I did that for many years. And then I worked for a number of years for a company that made like cross stitch and embroidery kits. And so I worked for them for a long time and I made lots of kits and they're in like stores all over the place. If you go into like Walmart, you'll see little cross stitch kits that I designed back when I was making pennies working for them.
What was it like? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'll ask you after. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so I have a lot of experience hand stitching, and then I sort of like discovered what an embroidery machine was, and that there was such a thing as a model that wasn't immediately to a commercial grade, where I could sort of like, afford one and try it out. And yeah, it's been awesome.
I love that.
Like a magic wand.
What was it like working? Like, were you a fabric artist when you started working at this place that made these embroidery kits? Like, that seems like a coincidence to me of some kind. Or if it isn't, yeah.
Well, like, I mean, I have always done all kinds of art and crafts and sewing and quilting and crocheting and beadwork, and like I do tons of different stuff, and I always have been very crafty. But no, I just got that job on like Craigslist. And
that's so interesting.
I made like $15 an hour.
Yeah, but I mean,
I was really, really good at it.
Yeah.
So then I ended up like designing a bunch of stuff that got into stores.
Did you come home from that job and be like, ugh, I don't want to do anything related to sewing or art? Or because I was like, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I used to love writing, and then I got a job writing, and then the last thing in the world I ever wanted to do after my work was write. Like, I hated writing after that job.
I mean, I still loved everything about it, but like the hardest thing for me to square was like how much we were kind of just designing stuff to go in a landfill.
Ugh.
Like we knew that people don't really buy it, and like especially something like a cross stitch kit. People purchase it in a aspirational mood. I'm going to learn how to do a craft. And most of the times they don't, and they throw it away or whatever. But even beyond that, we would design just little tchotchkes and doodads of like sewing, quote unquote, helpers and tools and notions. And it was all just designing plastic crap to be shipped over, to be placed in Walmart, to be put on clearance and put in the landfill. And it just like...
Do they really throw that away?
I mean, oh yeah, like if it doesn't sell, and it's just like all of the little stuff that costs like 98 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
Little plastic crap. It just like, it gets clearance, and then it goes away.
Yeah, I mean,
it's sort of like thinking on the scale of Walmart. Like, I had never encountered that before that job. I have always, like, I worked in restaurants and do other stuff like that, but like thinking on the scale of like hundreds of thousands of units, like, oh my God, I hate this.
Yeah, I think, Kelly, you're right. I'm thinking back, and Jen, you'll remember all of this. Like, all the countless like little kits of things we bought for the kids, all the toys, all the crap that just accumulates, and if somebody else doesn't take it, it ends up in a landfill. I think you're right. And there's like a whole industry, and
a portion of people absolutely do the craft kits, like absolutely. But from a selling standpoint, which is where I was at in the job, right? We knew that like people buy them because like they feel like I'm going to try it, and then they don't. Like, that sucks.
On a personal level, like, how did you get beyond the weekend like crafter, like relationship with embroidery and beadwork and all that? Like, when did you feel like this was something that was like a passion of yours, or you wanted to have a go at it more seriously?
Well, I guess kind of after the pandemic and everything, not that it's over, but about a year ago, I had been working in the cannabis industry and just sort of like didn't really see any future in that for myself. And was kind of looking at the way that I had been treated and my coworkers had been treated and sort of everyone in my general class structure had been treated and sort of everyone in the country. And, you know, I was just like, the prospect of like starting over or, you know, like looking for something else and just like keeping it going, like paycheck to paycheck, like I've been doing, making a rich person money and having my labor value stolen and paying rent to a landlord, kind of like all of those things sort of piled up and got to me. And I was like, well, I'm going to dive into it and see what I can make happen. And I totally have been sticking and moving and going for it like for a year. And it's been pretty cool. Like, you know, people really like what I do, and I think that they connect a lot with the message that I've, you know, that I've tried to put out there, because like there's a lot of people want to have a sustainable choice to make when they're shopping for things, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there.
No,
That's okay.
I'm following you. That's fine.
Is that crazy? Is all of that crazy to say? You can
No, because
No.
like I will just say, like from experience, right? Like I can go. I'm fascinated with this concept of going into the thrift store, right? And then I get in there, and they're kind of dingy. The lighting is like very fluorescent. It kind of has a smell to them. They all have sort of like that same kind of smell.
Well, yeah, that's the first thing. All of it goes into my base. I have a walk-in basement.
Oh yeah,
with
no,
my washer dryer right in there.
Yeah,
right in there.
Yeah,
I've never had anything bad happen to me, but I have read horror stories of people like coming home with something in the thrift clothes, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So now it's all like it goes into a bin in the trunk and then right into the wash.
Yeah. Yeah, but like where I was going, right, is like what you're doing is you're going into those places, right, and finding and cultivating and curating like pieces that you see have value and that you can upcycle, and then you're creating with your skills that you have, this embroidery and stitching and weaving, which we didn't even talk about, because the vest that I have that Brad was singing about earlier, it's like woven. It's not, it's like some other technique, I'm assuming. And so what you're doing is you're increasing the value of that object by giving it new life and making it unique. And I think in the opening intro, like the couture aspect, right? So it's a unique custom piece that you didn't even know you wanted, but it's like, you could see the beginnings of it, you know, like it's a denim jacket, or it's like a vintage, like Levi's Western shirt or whatever. Right. Which is what I think speaks to people, right? When they can connect with the pieces that you're putting out into the world.
Well, I love, you know, particularly, well, both, everything obviously, but like the jackets, I started doing it and I was like, okay, yeah. And if I do it rainbow, I love rainbows, and that's kind of my signature piece. But then I started like collecting denim jackets, and they all have a little bit of a different cut and a different personality, a little bit of a different shade of wash. And then I started finding like, oh my God, a white one. Whoa. So then they all like start to have their own personalities to me. And they're like, okay, this one is like for this particular kind of person. And then like when I actually meet the particular kind of person and they buy the jacket, it's like, oh my God, it's the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing. I made this one that had like leopard print on the back, and woven denim, and like a really acid wash denim and leopard print. And I was like, I know exactly the specific woman that's going to buy this. And then I met her in real life, and she did, and she was so excited, and I was so excited.
That's awesome. What is it about denim that has captured our hearts and minds as a people? We love denim, don't we?
We do. I mean, I think that there is something extremely working class about denim. It's workwear, but it's also like, made it all the way up to the runways of, Paris and everything like that too. Like, it's super versatile. But I think that it really speaks to a kind of like a toughness.
Yeah.
It can stand up to a lot. It can be like, it's not just, just a single daily kind of thing. You can have a denim jacket that you wear every day.
It's been with us. Yeah. And it's been with us like hundreds of years, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love denim.
I have to say, I think you're both probably going to hate me for this, but the best innovation in denim was the weaving of just a bit of spandex into it. Because I have a very ample behind, and I can't wear regular denim. It's very it's uncomfortable, especially if it goes through a wash and then into a dryer. Forget it. I can't wear those jeans ever again. So I love the addition of spandex to denim. And I'm sorry, listen.
Why are you apologizing?
Because I buy them at Old Navy, and I know Old Navy is fast fashion, but listen, I wear those things until they are literally falling apart.
Why are you apologizing for your fashion choices?
I'm apologizing for my ample behind and needing to wear jeans with spandex in it.
That's all right. There's
cool.
nothing wrong with being comfortable.
Yeah. So would you even work with like a pair of, I don't know if you do jeans, but like I don't know if that's a non-traditional fabric, but like a newer fabric like that. If you liked the way it looked. I have grabbed a couple that are like stretchy kind of, and it works because like, as long as, it's a little trickier, for sure, but as long as I treat it gently, and I do have a couple of like treatments that I do to the denim on the inside before I start cutting, so that it's a little bit more held together in the process of weaving it before I can actually get to quilting it all back down. But I even have some that I didn't quilt together, and they really haven't like frayed up or gone crazy or anything like that. Like I have one that I personally wear all the time, and they really hold up. I don't know. Yeah. Pretty
well. But they get like kind of a cool little roughness on them. But I love all of the different cuts and the different styles and personalities that they all have. And I've recently got a couple of black denim jackets, which have been really fun to find around Halloween time, because I've been made Halloween jackets with spooky little fabrics.
That's awesome.
It's been super fun.
You also make like necklaces and other things that people can wear like out of beads and beadwork. So I just wanted you to tell us a little bit more about those pieces and like your approach to beadwork, or how you think about that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I do bead embroidery is the kind of beadwork that I do. And yeah, it's just, I still like stitching with my hands, and it's sort of like, I can work all day and have the sewing machines running and do all of that stuff and be weaving and do all of that. But at the end of the day, when I'm in my pajamas sitting on the couch and watching a movie, I do still want to be sewing something. So I'm working on beads.
I love that. Our daughter, Space Unicorn, what's that called? Crochets while they watch TV. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. It's become
well.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know if it's not a habit, but it's just they love doing that.
Yeah.
And then we get to benefit because we get these big fluffy blankets.
True story.
Which are great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm looking at something on your website, Kelly, and I just want to remind people, okay, you can find the link to Kelly's website. It's pretty simple. It's therainbowrack.com, but you can find that in our show notes. I'm also going to have the link to Kelly's Facebook page there for the Rainbow Rack and also Kelly's Instagram. So, take a pause at this point. We've talked about a lot of these pieces, the different types of things that Kelly makes, the jackets, the shirts, the necklaces, the beadwork. Go and check this stuff out, right, on the website. And then you can come back to this conversation after you've taken a look at it. And I'm asking you to do that because I'm referencing a particular thing on the website, Kelly. I love this. This is called shoe wings. Wings. I am looking at some kind of sparkly shoe that has these beautiful wings on it. Tell us about shoe wings. Like, where did you come up with this idea? I love this.
Let me see.
I'm showing it to Stomping Jen.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
So, I have a big crew of friends that we all roller skate together.
Ah.
I wanted to make some wings to lace into my roller skate. And then I was like, this is actually super fun and amazing. You can lace them into any shoes at all. And I make them in all kinds of colors. And again, yeah, I find like denim out of whatever color of pants and make all kinds of crazy shoe wings. So right now I have yellow ones, black ones, silver ones, gold ones, all different kinds. And you can lace them in and out of any shoes or roller skate.
So they're
super fun.
They're connected to laces.
Yeah, they get
they're just like, they're like a patch. They're like a double-sided patch with two holes punched in it. And you just thread your shoelaces through and you lace them in and then you run very fast.
Oh.
I don't swear a lot on this podcast, but these things are fucking dope. I love these. Look at this. I'm going to show it to Stomping Jen again. This one is like a pink and yellow shoe wing.
I'm going to get you some shoe wings.
Look at that. Why isn't everybody wearing shoe wings?
Oh, look, I have.
Fucking love these.
Those are like my Doc Martens.
Yeah, those are like your sparkly Doc Martens. I love those. I love that. That's freaking awesome.
They're super cute. I'm going to get you a pair.
You should, and I will wear them.
What kind of shoes do you have?
I have like boots.
Oh, you have boots?
Yeah,
okay.
I will absolutely wear those shoe wings.
They go with any shoes at all.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I don't know why seriously, I don't know why everyone isn't wearing those. I love it.
Shoe wings for everyone.
Yeah. Kelly, do you have a favorite textile? Like a favorite fabric, a favorite thing to work with?
I mean, I'm going to be a boring old lady and say quilting cotton. It's the best.
What do you love about it?
It's so pretty. It comes in every single beautiful print under the sun. And it's nice and pleasing to work with. I'm a quilter at heart. Or actually, I'm sitting on the quilt that I spent 5 years making. Yeah, this is not a video medium, I understand.
Kelly's showing it to us. It has a lot of greens and blues and yellow. It's like a very earthy feeling to that quilt.
This is the quilt that I entered the Franklin County Fair for the first time this year. I've never put anything in the Roundhouse competition for crafters. So I entered for the first time, and I entered this quilt, and I won their quilting award.
Woo!
I know. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I really just wanted to see it. It's so big that I've never seen it from far enough away to see it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to see it hanging in the Roundhouse. So I was blown away that they gave me the award for quilting.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does that take a lot of patience? I feel like quilting takes a lot of patience.
this one did because I hand quilted the entire thing.
Wow.
Which is crazy. It's crazy. I don't think I'll ever do that again. But this is my gift to my husband. So, once is fine.
I love it. I have to say, somebody gave me a quilt a couple of months ago as a gift, and it was one of the most touching gifts, not from like a family member, I've ever received, because it was clear how much thought
and energy
work went into that.
Yeah.
And like she customized it and put all little things in it that I love, and
absolutely.
I love that. I love quilts.
They're really amazing gifts. I mean, I've made them for, my friends when they get married and stuff like that. And there are some that can only be gifts. There are some that like are so this one that I made that I won at the fair for, like I said, it took me 5 years to make. Like,
oh my God.
I spent hundreds of dollars on material before I started. Like, they can go way, way crazy.
I don't think I've ever done anything for 5 years. How do you keep your eye on the goal and not give up? Like,
how do you keep your eye on the quilt?
Yeah.
By also having 900 other projects at the same time. It wasn't a dedicated 5 years, but I had it.
What inspires your creativity? Like, what do you think of as your muses?
I don't know. I mean, I'm very silly. I think that might just be it. I do things that make me laugh or make me smile. I don't know. I like color. I like sparkles.
Do you have a favorite color? Is there a particular color that you love the most?
So my answers to this, I usually tell people are rainbow and glitter are my favorite colors.
I like holograph, like,
That's
iridescent.
Not a color.
Shut up. It is a color.
That's a good choice too. A friend of mine is through an iridescent phase where she's mostly purchasing iridescent clothing, and it's really magical to behold.
I love purple. It's the best color, I think.
That's your favorite color.
Well, I'm sharing.
Oh, thank you.
I do love purple.
Purple also speaks to me. Purple is the one that I accidentally buy purple nail polish every time I buy nail polish.
Yeah. So kind of in the inspiration line of thought, do you have particular designers that inspire you or that you love and follow, and you're like, those people are just, they really think outside the box? Or
well, I mean, I love Alexander McQueen and his kind of like more runway work, and like his work with Bjork was really cool. And one of my idols is Iris Apfel, who is a fashion icon. She's like 100 years old. She's super cool, accessorized to the max. Absolute like maximalist fashion. I totally dig that. Betsy Johnson also has always been like, I want to be Betsy Johnson. That's all. I just want to do cartwheels and splits on the runway. Like, she's so fun, and like, so just sort of like vibe wise, I guess those would be great. But like, really, my fashion style is influenced by like much older stuff, like nudie suits. the rhinestone cowboy kind of look, or like 50s fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the kind of 40s, 50s cut of like Western shirts, or sort of a rockabilly look.
I don't know if we still have it. It was the coolest friggin' shirt I've ever seen. It was one of your dad's
with
shirts.
the Wrangler shirt that was blue with the flannel,
yeah,
the plaid on the shoulder.
It was like this denim.
And it had the can I tell you what it looked like?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So it was like blue denim, but it was cotton. It wasn't like, thick denim or anything like that. And then on the shoulders, it had like a plaid, like a flannel. And then it had those bone buttons, like the snap bone buttons.
Yeah.
Pearl snaps. Yeah.
Yes, they were pearl snaps.
Yeah, but it was definitely a Wrangler shirt. It was old.
I can't wear it anymore. I'd have to be.
Did you ever wear it?
I did when I was like 30 pounds lighter. I could squeeze into that thing. Yeah. But like, definitely like for that, like 60s, 70s, like starved physique, it was the dopest shirt.
I found one probably a month and a half ago, a vintage embroidered cowboy shirt from like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
And I was like, catch my breath. Fainted in the thrift store just about, but yeah, they're still out there.
There's just something so cool about it. So I wanted to ask for our listeners, I mentioned the website, and kind of keeping in mind, we won't release this episode, for, probably another 8 weeks or so, just because of the schedule. But in general, like, where can people find your work and find your wares?
Yeah, definitely. My website is the best place, therainbowrack.com, to find my stuff. And everything, is coming and going. It's all one of a kind, like I said. So what is on therainbowrack.com today is not what's going to be on there in December. It's going to be all new stuff, I'm sure.
If you see something you like, you snatch it up.
Yeah. They're one of a kind.
That's the beauty of it. And, it's so cool. Right now, I've been working out of a space in Greenfield, and I made a shirt this morning and someone bought it this afternoon, and just boom, boom, boom.
I love that.
Yeah. But I'm going to be doing holiday markets all over, Western Massachusetts. And then, of course, you can find me on my website, find me on Instagram. I'm always making silly videos and filming myself weaving, and yeah.
So the best way for people to find out where you're gonna be physically is through the website, right? At some of these different markets.
On my website, I always have my events. Right at the top, there's one of the buttons that says events, and you can always find where I'm going to be next. Will be listed there.
Do you do, or have you thought about offering workshops for people to learn some of these techniques, or?
I have. I've been just selling and doing.
Yeah. No. I hear you
all of the time. But I think probably over the winter, in connection with Launch Space, I want to do some more classes and things like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because they do all kinds of classes there, and they have lots of things set up, like tons of sewing machines already there.
Yeah.
I'm lacking.
I want to ask another stupid question. So back in the 90s, the big trend in college was like people would take their like denim jeans or corduroy jeans and like split them on the seam on the side, and then like put fabric in them and make these giant bell bottom.
I remember that
things. Is that like something that anybody's ever asked you to make, or is that?
Well, I with my roller skating friends, we usually do like. We go to the Hadley Mall to Interskate 91 on Thursday nights. They have an adult night. Yeah. And you can skate around with the grown-ups. And we do like a theme every Thursday. Mm-hmm. And one of the themes was 90s rave. And so I made some for myself.
Oh, nice.
With a giant insert.
Nice.
Rainbow colored inserts.
Oh, those are
on a pair.
awesome. I'd love to see those in person.
Can I just say I hope that holiday markets are back?
They are.
I don't know. I have such like nostalgic feelings about holiday markets. Like I like going to those.
Who are you?
Huh?
Who are you?
All right, I've been keeping this secret from you all this time.
A holiday market.
Like I like going to them and just kind of like walking around and looking at the like crafts. I do like that.
Okay.
You seem surprised by this.
I do,
because I complain the entire time I'm there. Yes.
And every time I want to go somewhere and look at stuff, you're like, I don't see the point in shopping.
Well, that's not a holiday market.
Well, it sort of is because the vendors want you to buy stuff. So, like, it's shopping at the market.
No, there's a merriness to the holiday market.
A merry holiday market.
I don't know.
That's what you like. You like the merriness.
Maybe I
of
need
the
to
holiday
talk
market.
I need to talk to my therapist about this.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
So I obsessed with like graphic tees. And I have like a vast collection, and I had somebody help me purge my closet, and I refused to allow her to make me throw away all of my t-shirts. So she said, all right, we're going to put them in a tote, and then you could do whatever you want with them, like whatever. I was like, all right. And I know that people like make like quilts with their t-shirts, and to me, that seems a little cheesy. Are there other things that people can do, or has anybody ever asked you to do something cool with like an old T-shirt?
Well, I actually had a friend give me an old T-shirt today that says "Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll," and she said she's had this shirt longer than I've been alive. And she wants me to embroider on it, to embellish it, to say, when I was young, sex, drugs, and rock and roll saved my life.
That's cute. Will you consider custom work if somebody contacts you through your website?
I do custom stuff. I mean, like one-off stuff is not super price effective to do. But I do absolutely do custom denim. If you have your own favorite jean jacket and you want it woven with whatever colors or kinds of fabrics you like, I can do that. I also can embroider any of my designs on whatever shirt you bring in, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
I like doing custom stuff. I like doing collabs. I've done like some small batch kind of patches for a couple friends of mine that are starting their own business or putting on events.
Self-serve podcast embroidery patches.
Yeah. I love patches. There's
Self-serve cowboy shirt.
Yeah. Now you're talking.
Patches are really interesting. Because I think they're also like an ancient thing. Like, you know, people have worn patches a long time to like show they're part of a group or like an affiliation. Like when I was in the military, like it was like a big deal to go like when you arrived in a new place, you had to, you changed your patch like for the new thing you were a part of. And, you would add to your patches depending on like what kind of experience you accumulated. Patches, Jen, they're a part of human history. And I love that you're involved in these patches. I think there's something about it. I don't know why. It just occurred to me. Another thing for me to talk to my therapist about, Kelly. Sorry. I'll take that. I'll take that there.
One of the podcasts that I listen to, Cocaine and Rhinestones. Have you heard of that one? Mm-mm. It's about the history of country music. It's very good. But the whole second season, he delves into the history of Western clothing. So I was just like absolutely blown away listening to all of this while I'm starting this company and learning like the history of Western clothing and Western shirts. And the reason that there are pearl snaps on cowboy shirts like that is to do with the rodeo and bullfighting, so that if you get snagged up while you're in the rodeo, your shirt will just snap open and you're not going to get throttled.
Ooh.
I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah, that is.
I never knew that.
That's
and I
awesome.
was like kind of like listening to this in this podcast while I'm like embroidering all of these cowboy shirts. I'm like, oh,
That's
no
fun.
kidding.
That's cool. I thought it was just like, to like, just
You
rip
flick too hard.
Yeah, just anyways.
Sorry, we digress.
All right, Kelly, what has starting the Rainbow Rack revealed to you about yourself along this journey? What have you learned?
I've I've learned that I'm really pretty dedicated when I put my mind to something. I'm impressing myself a lot these days. I definitely went through a pretty heavy depressive spell after the pandemic, like I think a lot of us did. And, I've always made things. I've always been creative, and it just sort of felt like, okay, the time has come to like really make a change and like gamble on myself. And I took a huge risk, and like it's super cool that it's really connecting with people, because I think a lot of people, think the same way that I do, which is like wanting to think in alternate ways of how we can exist and create and purchase and live and do all of these things without just like thoughtless waste.
Yeah.
Thought consumption and creation of waste,
Yeah.
I love
and
it.
I think it really connects with people.
I love it. What's on the horizon for the Rainbow Rack? Anything coming that we should be looking out for? Do you have any aspirational goals you can share with us?
Well, like I said, my aspirations for the next few months are to connect more with LaunchSpace. I've been doing some work with them. They have like an entrepreneur program that I've been a part of that's been really helpful, actually, just like figuring out what I need to do to start a business at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really did jump into this with no idea what I was doing. But LaunchSpace has been like super helpful for all of like that kind of early stage stuff. But like I said, they've got this commercial grade embroidery machine down there. So that's sort of like the next step is hopefully ramp up production and create more stuff and
I love it.
Get everybody their new awesome favorite sustainable shirt or jacket.
I love it. Thank you. Before we get
or beadwork.
Before we go to our last two questions, is there anything else you wanted to make sure we talked about that we didn't get to? We covered a lot.
I think we covered a lot. Yeah. I don't really have any solid events booked past Christmas, so I'm not really sure by the time this comes out. But I'll definitely be doing some kind of holiday market.
Well, I'm scrambling here. This episode should come out December 14th. So there's still a week or so, to find Kelly wherever she happens to be that week and get some last minute shopping in. And listeners, look, if you listen,
and of course, check out the rainbowrack.com.
Yeah.
Yes, and you don't have to go. Thank you, Kelly. You do not have to go find Kelly in person, as nice as that would be. You can go to the website and order something if you're looking for a gift. Okay,
or a gift for you,
or a gift for you anytime.
Anytime. That's how I found Kelly.
Yes,
and then I saw Kelly at a vendor market in Worcester over a couple weeks back. And it was awesome to see all the stuff in person.
So listeners, go find the website, find Kelly at an event, and let's support an amazing artist. Okay. All right, Kelly. Last two questions. What do you like to do for fun? What brings you joy?
What brings me joy? I mean, really sewing. I like it a lot. That's why I do this. But also roller skating. I love it. I picked it up again since, after everything closed with COVID, it was kind of one of the first things to open back up. And me and a crew of friends sort of caught wind of it and became like way closer friends and gathered an even bigger crew of friends. And now it's like a whole fun thing. So roller skating brings me joy.
That's awesome. You like to roller skate.
I love roller skating. I have purchased 2 pairs of roller skates.
I told you about this this Thursday night adult skate thing.
I am aware of the Thursday
and said you should go.
Yes,
except when we're not recording a podcast. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Thursday does tend to be podcast recording night. Never mind, Jen. Stay here.
I also might be pushing my town to make an outdoor skating rink because over the pandemic, we hooked up and we had Malia Rhodes on our podcast, and she was offering some free lessons out in Florence, Massachusetts, which is a good 45 minutes away from where we live. And then she was doing some stuff out in Westfield, Massachusetts, because they have an outdoor rink.
Yeah, she's big into that skating.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
She was awesome. She was a really great guest.
Skating is so much fun, but also be careful getting on and off of the...
Yeah, Stomping Jen broke her butt.
I broke my butt.
Fell and fractured.
A couple years ago.
Fractured her coccyx.
Yeah. So I went to Malia because I didn't know how to stop without a wall, which was horrible.
All right. Are you okay? Are you reliving that trauma?
No, I'm totally fine. Thank you so much. Right, but I would love to go skating with you, Kelly.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Our last question, Kelly. I promise this will be the last one. This is a tough one. I'm going to warn you. This is a hard question. What have you experienced that you cannot explain? Now, this could be a supernatural thing. It could be a run-of-the-mill type of thing, like my faucet won't stop leaking or my bidet won't stop leaking. Who knows?
True story.
We have a leaking bidet, by the way, and it's driving me crazy. But anything you think about that you can't explain?
Well, I mean, yeah, totally. So this is going to sound crazy, but where we used to live at our old house in Wendell, there's one time that we heard like super loud helicopter sound coming over that was like very, very, very low. And it came over and then, we lived like right next to a swamp, kind of a wetland sort of thing. And there was a small globe of light that was traveling very fast through the swamp and then through our yard. And the helicopter had a headlight on, like a spotlight on it, and was following it. And it zoomed through our yard. And we were like, what the hell? And then our neighbor also saw the same thing. And I can't explain it.
Okay.
That's what happened.
So I don't think you're crazy. I follow the UFO phenomenon very closely. I've been studying it for years. I've read lots of books. What you're describing is what is called an orb. And no,
I'm laughing because she said it was an orb of light.
No, but it is in the UFO field of study. That is a very particular observation, and it is not unusual for those things to be detected and chased around by government entities. I totally believe you. I believe you saw this. They're real.
Let's go to a merry holiday market.
I want to go to this swamp and find this orb. Anyways, thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
And it wasn't like in the news or anything?
No, but it was verified by my neighbor, who's very trustworthy and was even the cop at the time. Not that cops are necessarily trustworthy, but he is a trustworthy guy.
Yeah, this is the first orb report we've had on the podcast. So thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. You can have it.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited by that.
I know you are.
I know you
can tell.
Yeah. All right. Kelly Surprenant, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast and talking to us all about the Rainbow Rack and your journey to starting the Rainbow Rack, your love of embroidery, beadwork, sewing, all of this stuff.
Quilting.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
Roller skating.
Yeah, I learned a lot, and I really enjoyed
I can't wait to see your stuff at another pop-up market.
Yeah, a holiday market.
Full of merriment.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Thank you.
All right, listeners, you know what we need from you, right? We need you, if you're coming to us for the very first time because you know Kelly and you're curious about what Kelly wanted to say, do us a favor, subscribe to the podcast, download our episodes. We don't make any money off of this, just so you know. This is purely from my own gratification. Right,
I'm learning about all sorts of people and
talking to. No, I want to see download numbers. The higher, the better. So please subscribe.
I'm trying to salvage.
Subscribe and
what you're saying.
Subscribe and download to our subscribe and download our episodes.
Visit our website.
Yeah, and also if you do that, okay. Stomping Jen was just saying this. You're going to hear lots of other great guests like Kelly, because we choose our guests very carefully. Okay. We're very discriminating in who we let on here, and we have great guests.
We do.
So, if you subscribe, you're going to hear a lot more, really good conversations. Okay. What were you saying?
Go to our website.
Yeah. Check out our website, softservepodcast.com. Okay. Yep. You can find all the stuff there about us.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's it.
I think we're done.
All right, Kelly, when we end, we like to just go around and let us all say goodbye in our own particular way. So we'll start with you. You are our honored guest, so I will hand it over to you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really awesome talking with you guys. My name is Kelly from the Rainbow Rack, therainbowrack.com. Check it out and shop sustainable.
All right. Stomping Jen.
Adios.
You're sticking with adios.
All right. Bye now.
Ned, no.
Adios.
Stay with that. Okay. Do it again.
Adios.
All right, folks. Bye now.
This world of ours, ever growing smaller, must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate. Those who have freedom will understand also its heavy responsibility. That all who are insensitive to the needs of others will learn charity, and that the sources, scourges of poverty, disease, and ignorance will be made disappear from the earth. And that in the goodness of time, all peoples will come to live together in a peace guaranteed by the binding force of mutual respect and love. I shall never cease to do what little I can to help the world advance along that road.